that Jesus is more worthy of glory than you are, than any of us are, infinitely, and that he will provide, seek first his kingdom. All these things will be added to you. You don't need to write songs for the church as a way of just making it.
Yep.
He'll provide that. Write the best songs you can to serve the church.
Welcome to Sound Plus Doctrine, the podcast of Sovereign Grace Music, where we explore what the Bible has to say about music and worship in the church and encourage those who plan, lead, and participate in their Sunday gatherings each week. Hello, and welcome back to the Sound Plus Doctrine podcast. My name is David Zimmer.
My name is Bob Coughlin.
And we are on episode 2 with our special guest, Jonathan Lane.
Have we ever had a not special guest? I mean, that'd be a downer.
Devin, over time has become less of a special guest. Yeah,
but because he's more like family. Well, he is family. He's my son.
Yeah.
So that would make him very special because he's
yes, an extremely special guest here, Jonathan Lane.
I'm just waiting for the day you say we have a guest today. Not really that special.
Yeah.
Not really that great. But you are a special guest, and Jonathan Lane. Thanks for joining us again.
Yeah, thanks for having me. It's a pleasure.
Yeah, so if you didn't listen to the first episode we did with Jonathan, give our listeners or viewers, if you're watching on YouTube, some context of who Jonathan is and who he works for.
He works for Integrity Music. He is the Vice President of Music Administration and Contracts and has been with Integrity since 2001.
And what is Integrity Music?
Integrity Music is a company that distributes and produces music to serve the church.
Yeah.
To build up the church. And I remember in the early years, I think Integrity was like late 80s when it started.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
I remember those
87, yeah.
In fact, I did an Integrity album. I led the singing on Chosen Treasure, number 42, the Hosanna Integrity line.
Wow.
Yep. Jonathan, how old were you in 1991?
91? Oh, gosh.
Okay, never mind. We don't need to go there.
Diapers.
Like 14, 15, something like that.
Okay, that's not so bad. Yeah, it was 92. Anyway, been around for a long time. And I remember the early years just trying to help churches who are producing music get that music out.
Mm.
And they went through the Hosanna line where I don't know how many it got up to, 50, 60.
They got up to 167 and we stopped.
That's hilarious.
Okay.
And you were just 47.
I guess 42. I guess I dropped off before.
You did.
Yeah, way but yeah, it's gone through a lot of things. But the primary way that our relationship with Integrity has unfolded is that Integrity administrates our songs, that handles all the detail stuff, licensing. If you want to do a song, you talk to Integrity. Although people have emailed us as well, royalty administration, all that stuff. And then Integrity also handles distribution.
Yeah.
So they make sure our music gets out.
And they do so well at that job.
And we had a meeting the other day with Integrity, of a quarterly meeting, and we told them that we were having this podcast with you, and I said I was going to ask you if you had any dirt on Greg Bays, but I'm not going to ask you that because Greg Bays is a dear friend.
Yeah, he's great.
All the people from Integrity have been so kind to us. It's just been such a joy to work with. But you are the one in particular that has answered our questions, that has cleared things up for us, that has served us in so many ways for so many years, almost 2 decades now.
Wouldn't you also say, Bob, Jonathan, you really get our vision of what we're trying to do in Sovereign Grace Music in terms of providing theologically rich songs for churches. Our church is first within Sovereign Grace Church Network, but in the broader sense of the churches, we're not trying to be an artist. We're trying to just give people good Bible-rich songs to sing on a Sunday. Yes. And you get that vision, and so that partnership is special.
Yes, it's been great. So we had a fantastic first conversation, and which was more focused on people who use the songs that we do, and we wanted to do this because we get so many questions about it on our website, our new website, which we have to talk about sometime. We have FAQs and, what kind of permissions do I need? So you have helped us answer actually a lot of those questions.
Mm-hmm.
Today, we want to talk about those who produce songs.
Yeah.
And we mentioned, or I don't know whether it's on camera or off, it was on camera, the number of songs that are being produced right now. Just broadly, 500,000 being uploaded to Spotify, Apple, whatever, every week.
Wild.
And then you said something about YouTube. How many? 120,000 a day?
Yeah, I think that's the number I've seen.
But that's videos. That's just videos in general, which could be anything.
Yeah, it could be just someone, and their cat. Who knows?
Yeah. Which we're not recommending. How does that strike you? I mean, you're in a unique position. Every quarter you're seeing the number of songs that are being licensed and paid for, and just we'd love to hear your thoughts just on, is that a good thing? Is that a bad thing? How should we think about it?
Well, it depends on how you look at it. You could look at it both ways. It could be a good thing or a bad thing. It could be a good thing in that there's more people creating more music. It could be a bad thing in that it creates a lot of noise and it makes it hard for people to be heard, because who has time to sit down and listen to over 100,000 songs a day just to find something? So it makes it really hard to be heard and to be found.
I remember in the days of CDs when the issue would be you'd have a stack of 20 CDs on your desk and you think, how am I going to be listening? How am I going to listen to these? And those would just be worship CDs, worship song CDs.
Oh, yeah.
And then the next month, there'd be another 20. And that's just a small sampling of what's there. And you just start to feel like a real loser as a leader because you can't keep up. So we would want to say, don't feel like you need to keep up.
Yeah.
I mean,
Yeah, you don't.
there are going to be great songs that are written today, but there are going to be a lot of bad songs or okay songs.
Yeah.
They're not necessarily bad.
Well,
There's some bad ones.
Yeah. Oh, yes, we can. We've written some of them, and we can attest to the fact that not every song we write is going to be one that a church should do. Some songs are more niche. They're it's for this day, this season, this time.
Right.
So yeah, just to think. It's important to think critically about it. Just the fact that we have so many songs available now, and so we can be choosy about what we do.
Mm-hmm.
So we get all these questions, Jonathan, about, I've written a song. Our church has done an album. Producers, writers of songs. So that's what we're going to focus on for this podcast, this episode. So the first question is just, how important would you say is it to copyright your church's songs, my songs? Is that a big deal? Can't you just? I mean, I remember you used to send it to yourself in the mail.
I did that too. Actually,
Copyright, mailing it
I
to
just
yourself.
keep dating myself. Yeah.
Which there's probably more modern ways to do that nowadays.
Yes, there are. But we leave all that to you. You take care of all our copyrights and everything. But say someone's not connected to Integrity or anybody, and they've written 5 songs. They want to do an EP, or maybe 10 songs, and they're singing them in their church. Should they copyright them? Talk to us about how to think about that.
Yeah, so there's really not in the U.S. Whenever you write a song, it's automatically copyrighted. So before you do anything, really what the copyright registration does is it documents that you wrote it on a specific date and who wrote it. You're kind of just documenting that thing. The most common thing people think of when copyrighting their songs is getting it registered with the Library of Congress in Washington, D.C., which it can get expensive to do that. I think they charge like $65 a song now to do that. And there's really not a need to do that until, like, if you're just recording your own songs, you're uploading them, and you're the only one singing your songs, using your songs, probably not a need to deal with it.
When you say the only one, like your church?
Yeah, if your church records a song and your church is the only one singing those songs, those songs don't have legs. They're not being used by other churches or being recorded by other people. Probably not a need to deal with registering it. Save the money, use it for ministry elsewhere. But as soon as those songs start getting legs and being used by other churches, start being recorded by other people or something like that, it's probably a good idea to register the song at that point, just to document when that song was written, who owns it, that kind of thing. Um, and there's the best way to do that is to the Library of Congress, though you could do it other ways. Like you said, back in the day, we used to stick a CD in an envelope, mail it to ourselves, and the post office would date stamp it.
Yep.
You could do that other ways now. Uploading it to YouTube, it date stamps it. You could put in the data of that, who wrote it, all that stuff. That could be a poor man's copyright nowadays.
Yeah.
That kind of thing, and it's free to do that.
This is good because I've told people that, so I'm now just getting confirmation that my counsel was true.
Yeah,
It's good.
I think this is okay.
Yeah.
But even putting it up on Spotify, Apple Music, it date stamps it at just the same. But that usually you got to pay a fee to get things uploaded that way. So that's a little more expensive, but it's still cheaper than the Copyright Office.
Yes.
Yep.
Are we going to get letters from the Copyright Office like saying, "What are you talking about? Why are you directing people away from us? We can't make money anymore"? I probably doubt it.
I think they've got so much influx they will never notice.
This is true.
Because 120,000 songs, however, 500,000 a week.
Yeah.
People sending that stuff in, it's a lot.
It's shocking. Yeah.
So you would say just go to Google. So do those things you could do.
Yeah.
But if you still feel, if you're a little like, oh, no, I don't know, I want to copyright it, just go to Google, search for Song Copyright Office or something.
Yeah, loc.gov or copyright.gov is probably the more direct link to that place, copyright.gov. And you just create an account, you fill in your information, you upload an MP3 of the song, and you pay for your fee with a credit card, debit card, and you're done.
That's great. That is very helpful. I think some people who are listening to this are going to go, oh, okay, great.
Yeah, and because it puts their fears to ease, because I feel like they're nervous, which could be irrational, but they're nervous that someone else is going to hear it and go, oh, you stole that from me.
Yeah.
And it's like, yeah, I don't know how likely that is, but it is good, I guess, to be safe. And there's cheap ways to be safe about it.
Yes.
Yeah, there is. And you really only need the Copyright Office registration if you're going to end up in court, honestly. To go to court, you have to have it registered there for 6 months prior to filing the case.
Wow.
Oh, there you go.
But I mean, we try to avoid that at all costs at Integrity. We're a nonprofit ministry. We don't want to go to court, end up in court. So we try to avoid all that.
Yep.
So just out of curiosity, and this might be an awkward question, do you guys then do that for us, for Sovereign Grace Music? Do you file songs with the Copyright Office?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, we do.
Thank you. Thank you so much for doing that. I assumed you did, but boy, that could have been really awkward. Nah, we just use the poor man's version. We just do whatever. Okay, because we used to do that years ago, and that's part of what administration means. Can small churches get you to administrate their catalog? Like, how does that work? And if not, who could they go to?
Yeah, they can. We try to work with people once they reach a certain level. One of the things we look for is to make sure that other people are using those songs first. Because really,
That's a good point.
If there's no need, then we don't want to get in the way. We always want to put ourselves in a position of adding value to someone's songs and helping them grow, and not taking something out of their pocket. And if no one's using their songs, all we're doing is taking money out of their pocket, and we don't want to do that. We want to make sure we're adding value. So we want to make sure before we administer someone's catalog that we're going to be able to add value to what they're doing.
Yes.
And that comes with a certain level. Number one, making sure other people are using the songs other than themselves. But yeah, if someone needs help, I mean, registering songs has gotten quite complicated, especially in the digital age.
Yes.
So having an administrator is very beneficial.
Yes. Yeah. Are there other music administration services that you'd recommend, or that maybe for a smaller, someone who's just getting started out?
Yeah, for sure. There's a great company called Music Services in Nashville. I think their website is musicservices.org. They're great people. they have the staff and capability to help the smallest of catalogs. And they've got great fees that are pretty low in industry standard that are helpful.
And
That's great.
thank you for sharing that. That's, two people asked me this week how to, who could I go to? And the way it works is we pay Integrity a percentage of the royalties, which is worth every single cent.
Yeah.
We don't. When we see the, of course, we have over 500 songs in our catalog, and when you see the pages and pages and pages of reports of what you've done to license our songs, and I just think, thank you, Lord, for Integrity Music, because you do all that for us.
Yeah.
Okay, that's great. How likely? So again, another user question. Someone who writes, composes. How we've talked a lot about money, and said it's not worldly. It's just writers throughout history have been supported through what they do,
and it allows them to make more.
Yes, I mean,
continues to serve.
Yeah, we try to give away as much as we can, but there's no question that the royalties that come to us through CCLI, through licensing, help us do what we do.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, we're connected to our denomination, Sovereign Grace churches, which puts us in a unique spot, but we still are able to kind of self-sustain because of the income that comes to us through those means. How likely is it for someone to think that they could support their ministry through CCLI?
Well, again, I would answer that question with another question. Why are you writing the music?
Great answer.
Because the main reason to write the music is because one you feel called to, and you have a way to minister to God's people and to help them, and just to glorify God.
Yes.
The income that comes along with that is ancillary. It's like the gravy on top.
Yes.
You don't want to rely on CCLI to support your ministry. You want to rely on God. He's the one who helps support your ministry.
Yes.
And he does that in many ways. Some ways is having revenue flow back to your ministry through your songs. There's other ways as well. Even for a ministry like ours, we have revenue flowing into us from all kinds of different places, not just CCLI. We're a nonprofit, and we also take donations, like most nonprofits do. But God has all kinds of ways to help support a ministry, and I would say rely on Him.
Yes.
Everything else.
Yeah, that is. I love that you focus it on the heart.
Yeah.
Because I don't know if we got in this last podcast or not, but what would you say are some of we've talked about a lot of the pluses of CCLI to help support ministry. What are some of the maybe dangers or drawbacks of it that you've experienced?
Well, it can be a financial burden for some churches, because you do have to pay them a fee, and for smaller churches, have small budgets, every penny counts. That could be a challenge for them, to be able to pay that fee every year. There's also reporting requirements. Like, you got to report back to them what you're using. And historically, that's been through like a paper or email type thing, free manual. They've made a lot of strides to help make that less manual in the past year or 2 years, where you use a thing like planningscenter.com or something where you have your services planned out. It feeds back into CCLI, so it makes it less burdensome. So they're making strides to help make that less of an issue. But that is a thing. Sometimes you have to have a hired administrator at a church just to report that stuff back.
Yeah.
Yes, but I think it's once every 2 years now. Is that the reporting?
Now that they're moving towards more of a automated type thing, like through Planning Center and stuff, it's like every week, because it's not a person having to sit down and list. You can just kind of push a button and it flows back.
Yeah.
That is fantastic.
Great.
Well, you mentioned not wanting to write to make money through CCLI. It's somewhat of you can't control it.
No.
I mean, you can't control what churches sing your songs.
Yep.
No, you can't. I mean, you can present songs in front of them, but you can't force a worship leader to put your song in the worship set.
Yeah, yeah.
Not, and I don't really think you should.
No, no. Let's double down on that.
Yeah.
You never
Yes.
should.
Yes.
Listen, you can be hired here if you do my songs.
Yeah, you got to let the Spirit handle that. You know, what songs are used where, and how those songs are used to touch people's lives. You know, let the worship leader commune with the Spirit and be led that way.
Yes, but I know even for us, you know, we're not the biggest worship music producer around. We have a long history, but that temptation is always there as songwriters to think, oh, I want my song on this, you know, album. You know,
Yeah. Well, to put that in perspective with CCLI, so they say they control over 200,000 songs. And every 6 months they put out a top 2,000 songs list, like the top songs that are used in the church. There's the top 2,000. That's 1% of the number of songs they control. And then to get into the songs that you could use to support your ministry, to get that kind of significant income, you got to be in the top 200, top 250 of that 200,000 songs. Now you're looking at what, like 1/10%. You've got to break through all of that.
Yeah,
And
it
that's
puts some
hard.
perspective on
this is
the
like
table, doesn't it?
This is like your 7-year-old saying, "What do you want to be when you grow up?" Well, I want to be the NBA. Okay.
Okay.
National Basketball Association. Okay. For those of you who aren't in the States, yeah, that's really slim.
Yep.
That you're going to make it.
Yep.
Yeah, and that's helpful. I think that's helpful for people to realize. It's not
Yes.
just, oh, I write a song, and you know, next year I'll be supporting myself off it. I mean, we have songs that are 20 years old that are just now. Well, I shouldn't say just now, but they are. You know, over time they've become songs that are sung throughout the world.
Yeah, it's a life cycle.
There's songs that are pretty old that just gotten embedded in the church because they get used over and over and over.
Yes,
Yeah.
and in Christ
Those are-
alone is always there.
And one of our oldest song is still pretty heavily used in the church, Give Thanks, written by Henry Smith.
Yes, yes.
Wow, yeah.
And that thing is always in the top 100 area. It just hangs around.
It is. Well, it says something so important.
Well, and another crazy thing about that I've heard is that a lot of congregational songs take 6 to 7 years to even find like a deep traction, if they will have one. And I don't know who told me that, but I even that statistic was surprising to me, because we hear a song and think that's a brilliant song and it's going to have an immediate reaction, and it doesn't.
Yeah,
It
yeah.
sort of fizzles, and it either finds its way or it dips. And I mean, we've seen that in the brief time I've been with Sovereign Grace. I see that.
Yeah, I think
There's no control.
Yeah, most of our songs, they're just long tails, which meaning they start and you just keep going.
Yeah.
I mean, I think.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
Oh, I was gonna say, yeah. Usually songs that go up really quick in the CCLI, they usually don't stay long. They disappear just as quick.
Like a
Yeah,
flash in the
Songs
pan.
that take longer, the slow burn, they stick around longer.
Yes,
Mm-hmm.
I would agree. And if there is a sense in you which you want to, you know, be a part of that, you know, a team, a group of songwriters or co-writers that, you know, get that song up there. We would all say it's really important to take that attitude toward the Lord and just say, and have experience conviction and repentance, because Jesus isn't a means to get to something.
Right.
We don't want to use writing songs for his glory to get us to the top of the CCLI charts.
Yep.
And it's something I think we need to constantly confront, because that's both the glory and the financial remuneration for writing songs can be significant, but it means nothing. In eternity, it means nothing. Jesus isn't going to ask us, so how many songs did you have in the top 100? It's not going to be.
About God and his kingdom, his glory.
Yes. Yes.
Yep.
So I
Absolutely.
think maybe that's for someone who's listening. We're just,
Yeah.
I'm just really struggling with this. Yeah, fight that fight.
Yeah.
Know that Jesus is more worthy of glory than you are, than any of us are, infinitely, and that he will provide, seek first his kingdom. All these things will be added to you. You don't need to write songs for the church as a way of just making it.
Yep.
He'll provide that. Write the
Yep.
best songs you can to serve the church.
Yep.
Okay, here's another question. What's the best way to distribute the songs you've written? We get that question all the time. And I have my answers, but we're having you on the podcast. I just be curious as to what would you say to a church or an individual? Say, I'm writing songs. Now, if you're just writing like 2 songs, if you've written 2 songs, don't ask that question.
Yeah.
The question, I mean, the answer is write 50 more songs, and then we can
Yes.
start talking about it.
Maybe 150.
Maybe 150. But what have you seen, or how would you counsel someone who asks that question?
Well, it would depend on what who their audience is, who they're writing the songs, who they want the songs to get in front of. If it's just to write songs for their local church, you don't really need to distribute them. Just play them on Sunday, and you've done your job. You've gotten in front of your audience. But if you just want to impact your city, you get to know worship leaders in your city, share the songs with them, see if it impacts them, if they want to use the songs. But if you want to get outside of your own city, you probably start thinking about how to distribute the music, like on YouTube or on Apple Music, Spotify, places like that. But then you're dealing with breaking through the noise of all the other people uploading stuff. So that's where kind of like a place that, as a distributor, the office services to help break through that noise comes in to help. And there's lots of distributors out there. TuneCore, DistroKid, they're distributors. Integrity has a distribution arm called Integrated Music Rights. And one of the services we provide is helping pitch songs to playlists that are on these services that help narrow down the audience and help get the songs in front of people. And there are editors who control what songs go on these playlists. And pitching songs to them to get them on there is one way to break through that noise and get the music in front of people.
It's almost like the playlists have become the new albums or the radio. Where, okay, this is where I'm going to listen to my music. I mean, I know you've gotten our songs on playlists with 1 million followers, and that people are going to listen to that song more often, which may then lead them to other songs we've done and that kind of thing.
That is the main goal. If it gets playlisted, it's that you now have access to our catalog, which we're more excited about the breadth of our catalog than we are about just this one song right now.
Yeah.
It's like, we want you to be a part of what we're doing.
So let me make it clear. If you're a songwriter and you upload your album to Apple Music or Spotify or wherever, YouTube, don't expect that in a year, like, you'll have hundreds of thousands of plays or views.
Yeah.
Don't expect that, because so many writers think that, it's out there. But what you talked about, Jonathan, the noise, you are throwing those songs into a vast container of hundreds of thousands of songs. So again, it gets back to doing what we do to please the Lord.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's not don't do it. It's that you can, but what's your what's the end goal?
What are you aiming at?
Yeah, what are you aiming at?
What's your motive? That's so good. All right. Well, you're an incredible resource, and we are so grateful for you, for the work you've done, for integrity, and to serve so many. And I thank you that you're interested in the church. Mm-hmm. You're not just interested in integrity. That's another thing that we felt is just you're seeing what God's doing broadly, how the gospel is advancing, how people's lives are being changed by the good news that Jesus actually came to live a perfect life. He died to take our punishment. He's risen from the dead, and those who trust in him can have their sins forgiven and expect to live with him forever. And it's just amazing news. And what a privilege it is that we get to write songs, produce songs, distribute songs that proclaim that message. So,
amen.
Thank you, Jonathan. Look forward to more conversations. And it has been a pleasure having you with us. And it's been a pleasure having those of you who are listening or watching. We hope you'll join us again.
Yep.
Yeah. Thanks, guys. It's been an honor.
Thank you for listening to Sound Plus Doctrine, the podcast of Sovereign Grace Music. Sovereign Grace Music exists to produce Christ-exalting songs and training for the church from our local churches. For more information, free sheet music, translations, and training resources, you can visit us at sovereigngracemusic.org.